Many fans are absolutely furious with some of the all-star snubs from 2020, the most notable, Devin Booker, putting up over 27.6 assists on 51% shooting, not making it an absolute travesty. Because his team's not that good, the Suns have come a long way from their disasters and making progress. In the very tough West, the 23-year-old suggested the best players should be all-stars, and he has a point. While Bradley Beal was also furious about his snub, averaging almost 29 points, over 6 assists makes absolutely no sense. Even though the Wizards stink, Kyle Lowry gets a pass every year in the East, averaging 20 a game, 7 assists on 41% shooting. Beal's clearly the way better player. If Lowry was on the Wizards, the team would be even worse. Looking at all-star selections, a couple players in the past never became all-stars and were extremely close to making it, unfortunately got snubbed and never got the chance to become a replacement. With that said, here are 10 of the biggest all-time snubs from players who never got the chance to become an all-star. Number 10, Lamar Odom, the original unicorn, a former great teammate of Kobe's. At 6'10", he was essentially a point forward, can also block shots like a center, selected 4th overall in the 99 draft, putting up almost 17 and 8, over a steal and a block as a rookie. It is shocking Odom never became an all-star. His best season came with the Heat in 2003-2004 when he averaged over 17 a game, almost 10 rebounds, 4 assists and a block, led Miami to the 4th seed in a low-scoring era with intense defense being played. Jamal MacLeod of the New Orleans Hornets made the all-star team that season over Odom, averaged 13.6 points, 10 rebounds that season. In those playoffs, Odom proved he was the way better player, averaged 16 and 8 in the series, MacLeod 11 and 9, Miami 1 and 7. Odom would be traded to the Lakers that summer and enjoyed 2 championships, won 6th Man of the Year in 2011. Number 9, Josh Smith, 2012. His best season at the height of his powers, put up almost 19 points, 10 rebounds, 4 assists, 1.5 steals, almost 2 blocks, one of the best power forwards in the game at the time, but was left out in favor of teammate Joe Johnson, Bulls forward Luol Deng, and Sixers Andre Iguodala. After Joe Jesus wasn't able to participate with injury, Rondo was the replacement, who averaged nearly 12 and 12. For a guy who reached 1,000 blocks quicker than anybody in NBA history, having the misfortune of having his best years out the spotlight, Smith deserved way more credit, stepping his game up for the injured Al Horford, who only played 11 total games that season. Number 8, Monta Ellis, 2010. One of the best players to never make the All-Star team, Ellis will sadly be remembered for being a former teammate of the great Steph Curry. Before Golden State started to become very good, the 6'3" shooting guard was out the league by age 31 in 2017. Ellis averaged a career best 25.5 points, over 5 assists, 2 steals, but Golden State ended up finishing 26 and 56. Kobe Bryant, Chris Paul, and Brandon Roy were hurt, so Chauncey Billups, Chris Kaman, and Jason Kidd were the replacements since they were on better teams. But Chris Kaman over Monta Ellis? Come on, man. Ellis could have made the All-Star team multiple times, averaged over 24 a game the following season, and also 2015. Even though he wasn't as explosive, the Mavs won 50 games and Monta was the leading scorer on the team, averaged almost 19 a game. Head coach Rick Carlisle was absolutely furious. DeMarcus Cousins, Damian Lillard, and Dirk Nowitzki were the replacements of Kobe, Blake, and Anthony Davis that year. This just goes to show how stacked the West was. Number 7, Al Jefferson, 2014. One of the very few seasons Charlotte actually made the playoffs. Big Al averaged the career best 21.8 points, almost 11 rebounds, very dominant on the post, especially on the left block, and excellent at crashing the glass. Steve Clifford got him to play high quality defense for the first time in his career. A true complete center, was the most productive big in the East, helping his team get in the playoff mix. It made absolutely no sense. The 6'10" center made All-NBA 3rd team and was snubbed. Joakim Noah, Paul Millsap, and Roy Hibbert were amongst the players to make it over Big Al. Hibbert later became an absolute travesty that season. His skills fell off in the blink of an eye, ended up averaging 10.8 points, 6.6 rebounds, one of the biggest robberies in NBA history. Imagine a big man averaging under 11 and 7, making the All-Star team in today's NBA, and someone averaging 22 and 11 didn't get in. Number 6, Andre Miller, 2002, who had a long productive career, 17 seasons, was the best player on the Cavs in 02, averaged 16.5 points, led the league in assists, averaging 10.9, 1.6 steals. His team only won 29 total games that season. Having Lamont Murray, Wesley Person, Ricky Davis, and Big C, Miller was one of the most underrated point guards in the 2000s, having an amazingly high basketball IQ with a strong post game, very dependable, durable, and consistent throughout his career, even played in 626 consecutive games. Baron Davis ended up making the All-Star team for the injured Vince Carter's replacement, averaging 18, 8.5 dimes, over 2 steals. Alonzo Mourning was one of the last draws to make the team, averaged around 16 and 8, 2.5 blocks. For somebody who's 11 all-time in assists, because his game wasn't flashy and lacked athleticism, Miller didn't get too much attention throughout his career. He should have made it. Number 5, Jalen Rose. Every season when All-Stars get announced, Rose is still probably upset deep down inside, believing he should have been an All-Star at least once in his career. Averaged over 22 a game, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, being the best player on the Bulls, was one of the game's premier point forwards. While Brad Miller of the Indiana Pacers averaged 13 and 8, made the All-Star team over Rose that season. So did Antoine Walker, who averaged 20 a game. If Rose wasn't an analyst working on ESPN right now, most teenagers today would have no idea who he is. Number 4, Derek Harper. The man responsible for changing the hand-checking rule was one of the best defenders in the 80s and 90s. At 6'4", he could pass, shoot, and defend at a high level, but never got enough attention. Was also a huge part of the 94 Knicks team. If it wasn't for John Starks playing so terribly in Game 7, Harper would have had a shot in winning Finals MVP, perhaps even over Patrick Ewing if the Knicks would have won. Appearing on 2 defensive teams, averaging a career best 19.7 points in 91, over 7 assists, almost 2 steals, led his Mavs to back-to-back 50-plus win seasons in 87 and 88, fell to the Showtime Lakers in 7 in the conference finals, one of the most underappreciated players of his generation. Number 3, Ron Harper, 1988-89. The 6'5" guard was an incredible defender, known for his time playing with Michael Jordan in the Bulls' last three-peat as the starting point guard. By the time, he was already aging. Flashback to his 3rd season, put up averages of 18.6 points, 5 rebounds, over 5 assists, 2.3 steals, a block on 51% shooting for the 57-win Cavs team, alongside Mark Price, Brad Daugherty, and Larry Nance. Those 3 made the All-Star team in '89 together. While Harper was left out, played for 4 different teams, spent 15 seasons in the NBA. Also had one of the best rookie seasons for a guard. Looking at the numbers between player X and player Y, one of them was Harper, who didn't make the All-Star team. The other, Jeff Malone, player Y. But 2 years later, player X averaged more points, but player Y was the better passer. Player Y was Mark Jackson, who had the nods over Harper. It was also pathetic that Harper averaged 19.3 points, over 5 rebounds, 4 assists, over 2 steals over his first 8 seasons in the NBA, and didn't even make the All-Star team once. And the fact that Kyle Lowry has 6 and Harper none, an absolute atrocity. Harper later spent some time with the Clippers before winning 5 championships, an excellent defender, being backcourt teammates with Michael Jordan, later joining the Lakers his last 2 seasons in 2000 and 01, is one of only 3 players to win consecutive championships on 2 different teams, was also the starting point guard, sharing the backcourt duties with Kobe Bryant, cut his India trip short recently after hearing the devastating Kobe news. His son Ron Jr. had a personal connection to Kobe, who plays college ball right now for the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Number 2, Byron Scott, 1988. The starting 2 guard for Showtime, Scott had his best season, averaged 21.7 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals on almost 53% shooting. In fact, the leading scorer for Showtime that season. Worthy and Magic averaged just under 20, while Jabbar was already over 40 and way past his prime, one of the best dynasties. In 2011, Scott said not making the All-Star team didn't really hurt him. If he wasn't with the Lakers, he would have made 3 or 4 All-Star teams and never win a championship. I'll take the championship instead of the All-Star team any day. Danny Ainge even said Scott's very underappreciated by the world, since Magic was the center of attention for LA, Jabbar the greatest big man ever, and Worthy on the other hand won 1 Finals MVP. That season, Steve Johnson of the Blazers averaged under 16 and 6. James Donaldson averaged 7 points, 9 rebounds for the season, made the team over Scott. The 7'2" Donaldson put up numbers worse than Tristan Thompson, identical numbers to Michael Olamicandy, wasn't close to becoming one of the best centers in the league. A guy who averaged over 14 points more didn't make it, an absolute head scratcher. Number 1, Ross Strickland, 1998, who bounced around the league, played for 9 total teams, most notable for his Blazers and Wizards days, one of the best point guards in the mid to late 90s, overshadowed by other guys like John Stockton and Gary Payton. He absolutely should have made the All-Star team in 98, arguably his best season, averaged almost 18 points, led the league in assists, averaging 10.5 a game, ran the point for Chris Webber, Tracy Murray, and Juwan Howard. It's very rare for any player to lead the league in a major major offensive category and miss out on the All-Star activities. Strickland was also a solid defender. Big man Jason Williams of the New Jersey Nets, who averaged 13 and 13, somehow made the team over Strickland. So did Rick Smith of the Indiana Pacers, averaged 17 and 7. Steve Smith, Antoine Walker, and Sean Kemp, who was the starter. None of those guys made an All-NBA team that season, while Strickland made second team only behind point guard Gary Payton, an absolute disgrace of a robbery. Honorable mentions includes Corey Maggette 2005, Drazen Petrovic 1993, who tragically passed away from a car accident that summer at 28 years old, was in the prime of his career, averaged 22.3 points. Kevin Martin 2008, because of his injuries, missing games, his scoring numbers were fantastic, but being in the loaded West, extremely difficult to sniff a spot. Other guys like Mike Bibby shine in the playoffs, wasn't as spectacular in the regular season when he played for the Kings, while Mike Conley had his best chance in 2017, the season where even Damian Lillard averaged 27, was snubbed. Draymond made it over him. Those were the biggest snubs from players who never became actual All-Stars. Thank you so much for watching this video as we continue to pray for the families and close loved ones of Kobe and Gigi Bryant, along with 7 other victims killed. It's always important to cherish every moment of life, continue to do great things with the Mamba watching from above. Thank you, Kobe, for being a huge inspiration to me and millions around the world. You will be missed.